Mark Dambley.
Present.
Thank you. Tom Ellis is here. Rob Fox.
Here.
Kevin Johnson.
Here.
Ober Knoble.
Here.
Bill Leonard.
Here.
Bill. Good. Debbie Mailer. Debbie. All right, come back. Esteban Vera. Okay. Representative White.
Here.
Here. Okay. Start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right, good afternoon. Thanks for everyone for joining us today for this month's board meeting. Please note that the board met in executive session just prior to this meeting to discuss legal matters. Start off with SEPTA continues to face unprecedented challenges from the COVID-19 pandemic. We know that SEPTA is critical to the region's recovery, and this board will continue to work closely with staff to ensure the system is ready for riders when they return. We have some short-term help thanks to COVID-19 relief funds. I would like to thank the Southeastern Pennsylvania Congressional Delegation for their continued advocacy for us. SEPTA's dedicated workforce continues to be a great source of pride throughout this crisis, and I know they will keep providing the essential service this region needs. On that note, I would like to recognize an employee who has been a huge part of this authority for nearly 4 decades, Mike LeBarry. Mike oversees all of, he's Italian, Liberia, I'm sorry. And I see him all the time. Sorry, Mike. He's a good guy. All right. All the SEPTA's bus and trolley operation. He's about to start his well-earned retirement. Mike is a true SEPTA success story. It started 37 years ago when he was retired as a was hired as a bus driver. His understanding of the rigors of that job helped him as he has moved into management. Mike has always understood that SEPTA doesn't move without the workers on the front lines. He has had a huge impact on everyday operations of this authority, as well as our ability to do big things. Mike was at the center of our efforts to get people to and from the Eagles Championship Parade, the Democratic National Convention, the Papal Visit, and the U.S. Open. When our city and region was in those special moments, dedicated employees like Mike Liberie, better, Carol? Thank you. Were there to make sure they were a success. And I will put a heartfelt thank. Mike has been a rock for me and the board for years here. You guys may not know him as well, but he's just a spectacular employee. So we're going to miss Mike. And thank you for your hard work to the authority. On behalf of the board, wish you a happy retirement. Thank you, Mike. All right. You sure you don't want to come back, Mike? Okay. All right. Okay. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the February 25th meeting and the regular annual board meeting. These minutes have been circulated. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved. So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Minutes are approved. Move on to the financial report. Rich Burnfield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Revenue for the month of February was $27.7 million below budget. With several snowstorms throughout the month, transit ridership remained at 35% of pre-COVID levels and regional rail ridership at 15% of pre-COVID levels. After the first 8 months of fiscal year 2021, revenue is $233.3 million below budget. Operating expenses continue to be carefully managed, and expenses year-to-date are $85.9 million below budget. Federal CARES relief funding continues to provide operating assistance to offset these revenue shortfalls, and SEPTA has been able to operate with a balanced budget during the fiscal year. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. I'll entertain a motion that the financial report be received and filed.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments or corrections? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 February financial report is received and filed. Please note that all written comments and voicemail messages have been received and will be included in the official board meeting. Transcripts will be then posted to the SEPTA website. We have no speakers on the agenda, correct? Okay. Move on to the consent calendar, which consists of award of contracts pursuant to requests for proposals, authorization to award contracts for various procurements, award of contracts for sole source procurements, and authorization to execute change orders and amendments. All the items on the consent calendar have been reviewed by the appropriate board committees in public session. I'll entertain a motion to adopt these resolutions.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions? Any abstentions? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The
Aye.
resolutions are adopted. Let's move on to the report of the general manager. Ms. Richards?
Sure, thank you, Chairman. Following up on the chairman's comments about our funding, we are very grateful for the funding we have received from our federal government, and we would not have made it this far without it. But I do want to be very clear. We continue to lose $1 million a day to continued low ridership and fare box revenues. Just to put that into context, we normally spend $4 million a day to run our system. The federal COVID relief packages passed last year and the recently signed American Rescue Plan may seem like we have sufficient funds to ease the impact of this crisis, but funding we've received to date is being used to make up for what we're not getting from the fare box. In less than 1 year, we've used nearly $400 million of federal funds to cover that 1 million a day deficit and massive additional pandemic-related costs for supplemental cleaning, sanitizing, and supporting and protecting our employees. These additional costs would have been a burden even during a year when finances were strong. During the COVID pandemic, as our riders stayed home, these costs further stretched our already depleted budget. Ridership is expected to return slowly. We hope to reach 80% of pre-pandemic ridership levels in the next 2 years. Our COVID relief money will not last until our ridership returns to a sustainable level, but we must make it last until we recover. And we are working very hard to make sure that that happens and that the future of SEPTA is strong. One of the issues we are very concerned about is the proliferation of the vulnerable population who seek refuge on our system. SEPTA police and social workers are paired up through the SEPTA Save program to get people connected to services. We are teaming up with other partners to address these issues for the benefit of the vulnerable community, the safety and security of our own employees, and those riding the system. To make sure we can welcome back other customers to a clean and secure system, we are working aggressively here internally and as well with external agencies and partners to make sure that happens. I'd like to close by once again recognizing our frontline employees who go above and beyond to keep our system clean, safe, and operating. I also want to thank our employees who keep the business of SEPTA running every day and throughout this entire pandemic. We commemorated National Employee Appreciation Day last week, but we very much appreciate what our employees do every single day. And as we end Women's History Month, I want to thank all of the women of SEPTA, as well as to the men who support us. And that concludes my remarks, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I would like to thank the main woman here, you, Leslie. You've done a great job during this year, and thank you for all your help and work here. This concludes my report, and then I'll move on to the speakers. Cameron Adamez. Mr. Adamez?
Speaking. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. You're good.
Okay, cool. Good afternoon. My name is Cameron Adamez, and I'm a member of Fifth Square Transit Steering Committee. Fifth Square is a political action committee that supports local candidates committed to policy change in the areas of transportation, land use, and public space. We work with our partners in the Transit Forward Philadelphia Coalition, who work to advance transit from their organizational perspectives of economic development, business community, racial justice, public health, and public policy in our case. SEPTA employees and riders deserve to feel safe, and riders should not have to question the biases or ethics of the people that they trust to keep them safe. At the January SEPTA board meeting, TFP members Terry and Burrows and Melody expressed their concern about the conduct of the 7 SEPTA police officers who attended the January 6th rally before the insurrection. Following the event, 2 officers posted on social media that they supported the insurrection. SEPTA spokesperson Andrew Bush acknowledged that by saying, quote, by endorsing the storming of the Capitol, they were condoning criminal activity, which is unacceptable for any police officer. Their support of illegal behavior is in direct opposition of the department's ethos and mission. As Terriam cited in January, Chuck Wexler, executive director of the Police Executive Research Forum, notes that police leaders' investigations need to evaluate more than just clear criminal behavior. They must also consider how their actions affect a department's credibility. Wexler states that officers' First Amendment rights don't extend to expressing words that may be violent or may express some prejudice, because that's what's going to reflect on what they're doing when they testify in court. So, given these statements and the credibility issue, it seems that the coup only rendered a 3-day suspension, which is just a token gesture instead of addressing the root cause of the problem. And I'd like to ask the board if they support this simple punishment for the unusual social media policy violation. And I'd like to allow the board members the opportunity to clarify their positions on record.
Good afternoon, Mr. Adams. This is Gino Benedetti, SEPTA's General Counsel. The Police Internal Affairs Department investigated this fully. We followed our normal process in applying discipline and afforded the officers all due process rights. We have accepted the discipline that's been handed down. But at the same time, sir, we are looking very carefully at those processes, including in bringing in citizens from the community to assist us in evaluating our current procedures and to improve them where we can so that we can continue to have a trust-filled relationship with that community that we serve.
Thank you. We have Daniel Trubman. Mr. Trubman,
Hi, can you hear me?
we can hear you. You're on.
Great. Hello, my name is Daniel Truman from Philadelphia, also speaking on behalf of Fifth Square. And at Fifth Square, we sincerely believe that SEPTA's trolley modernization project deserves priority in the agency's forthcoming capital budget. The trolleys make up SEPTA's busiest surface routes, hailing more ridership than any big single bus line and most regional rail lines. Our trolley cars are a decade past their 30-year usable life and are becoming increasingly unreliable. This is a matter of equity and racial justice because our trolley lines serve lower income, higher minority communities, connecting these neighborhoods to opportunities in Center City and University City. The current trolley cars are not fully ADA accessible to people of all ages and abilities. Our region's trolleys neighborhoods deserve a modern system. In replacing the aging trolley fleet, SEPTA has the chance to transform the trolley system to resemble modern light rail. This means increasing speed and reliability through off-board fare payment, transit signal priority, and stop consolidation. This project has larger regional economic benefits. A functional trolley system is crucial for our region's economic recovery by serving and connecting people to jobs and amenities. It's crucial when it comes to infrastructure spending, we fix it first. As Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg recently commented, quote, a lot of what we've got to do is dealing with the maintenance backlog, end quote. We want SEPTA to prioritize the trolley modernization project by stepping up its timeline and increasing its capital budget investment allocation. Thank you.
Thank you. Gavin Stetcher. Mr. Stetcher? Hello? Can you speak up? We can't hear you. Hello? All right, why don't we come back to Mr. Stetcher? Let's move on to Joel Arnold. Mr. Arnold?
Yep, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right, well, good afternoon. My name's Joel Arnold. I'm a planner with CMAC, a nonprofit that serves immigrants, refugees, and other neighborhoods in the neighborhood near Mifflin Square Park in South Philly. And we're also a member of the Transit Forward Philadelphia Coalition. CMAC and TFP are grateful for the adoption of the SEPTA Forward Strategic Plan, which recognizes that transit's at the core of a sustainable, economically inclusive, and sets an ambitious framework that'll propel SEPTA, our communities, and our whole region forward. And we see that strategic plan as responsive to our call to build healthier, safer, and inclusive communities centered around transit. And we really are grateful to the SEPTA board and the strategic planning and innovation groups for their listening to our calls. Values that the strategic plan champions is SEPTA being a proactive and responsive organization, making the most effective use of public resources. So to that end, CMAQ and TFP call on SEPTA to accelerate progress on full rail transit network accessibility and to move up the timeline on all 88 projects in the rail transit network in the next capital budget, ensuring that we have a successful bus network redesign and that buses don't need to mirror the rail transit network because it lacks accessibility for all users, which is an inefficient use of our public dollars. Today, many projects in the capital budget tie station accessibility to full station renovations, but SEPTA is a fiscally constrained agency and we need elevators now, and we can do full renovations later. My community in South Philadelphia is one that would benefit from the efficient project delivery method that drives the goals of the strategic plan. Snyder Station is currently scheduled for a full station rehabilitation and ADA compliance in 2024, which is a whole year after the bus network redesign is complete. So let's adjust the scope and prioritize South Philly seniors, equity, and capital budget efficiency now. And we look forward to a capital budget that drives the goals of the strategic plan because our communities cannot wait.
Great, thank you. Mr. Joel Arnold. Mr. Arnold? I'm sorry, Liam Doherty. Not on. Nick Zuwala Rogers?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, you're on.
Great. Good afternoon. My name is Nick Zawala Rogers. I'm the Transportation Program Director at Clean Air Council. The council is a member-supported environmental nonprofit and a proud partner of DVRPC, SEPTA, and transportation management associations across the region in coordinating the Mobility Alternatives Program, which helps to mitigate congestion and improve air quality through transit, walking, biking, and remote working options. The COVID-19 pandemic has forever changed the transportation patterns of our region. Rush hour is nothing like it once was, and many companies, including SEPTA, shifted to remote work overnight last year. Transportation in Philadelphia is the #1 cause of poor air quality, but telework during the beginning of the pandemic caused our city's air to be the cleanest in our lifetimes. Why would we go back to the old way of congestion and poor air quality? Let's keep one of the only unexpected benefits from COVID and move to a future propelled by transit, flexible working and living patterns, and congestion-free streets. Clean Air Council and its partners at Transit Forward Philadelphia are calling upon SEPTA, one of the largest employers and mobility providers in the region, to demonstrate leadership in transportation demand management by adopting a permanent flexible work policy. The council is reaching out to employers across the city to plan a return to work that takes into account the environmental impacts of different commuting options, encouraging employers to plan workforces that rely on transit, walking, and importantly, telecommuting and flexible work schedules. The council provides cost-free assistance to employers in assessing whether telecommuting is right for your workforce, designing company-specific telecommuting policies, providing training and education on site for managers and staff, and evaluating telecommuting programs. By implementing policies that help employees avoid the worst traffic times, employers can help reduce congestion and improve air quality and reduce their employees' stress on the way to work. These are benefits that not only boost productivity, but also keep workers happy and engaged, and I'm sure many of your employees are experiencing these benefits right now. While it may seem counterintuitive for a transit agency to discuss necessary travel, taking leadership in flex work policies allows SEPTA to embrace its identity as a mission-driven mobility provider and focus its operating budget resources towards those who need transit most, our essential workers who keep grocery store shelves stocked, keep hospitals clean, and care for the sick. And scheduling services to best serve off-peak essential workers supports work and leisure trips for people who have the opportunity to flex work. So the council and Transit Forward Philly look forward to SEPTA moving towards more flexible working arrangements and really being a leader in the region on TDM and the new transportation patterns of our region.
Good, thank you. Yasha Z. Yasha, you on there? Not on? Shame. Will Tung, Mr. Tung?
Hi, how you doing? Do you hear me?
I can hear you, you're on.
Great. Hello, this is Will Tung from I'm calling from Southwest Philly. I'm speaking as an organizer with Fifth Square. This trolley network is a vital transit lifeline, and it's critically important for our region's economic well-being. Unfortunately, the trolley system we have is slow, it's marred by delays, it's unacceptably outdated, and it lacks ADA accessibility. I know because as a resident of King Sessing, I rely on the 13 to get to work in Center City. In its recently released Philadelphia Transit Plan, the City of Philadelphia labeled trolley modernization as its top priority for large transit infrastructure spending. The transit plan estimates this project to cost $1.85 billion, but SEPTA has only budgeted less than $50 million over the next 12 years for this project. We at Fifth Square have published a petition. It's at 5thsq.org/trolley, and it's been signed by over 500 riders and area residents, asking our members of Congress to earmark federal funding for SEPTA's trolley modernization project. We hope SEPTA can use our petition and the city's transit plan to show local Congress members overwhelming community support for this project and to amplify their ask for appropriate funding for it. We also want SEPTA to do its part and prioritize trolley modernization by increasing its capital budget allocation. Philadelphia and Delaware County also deserve a signature capital transit project, and we deserve reliable, accessible, and frequent trolley service within our lifetime. Please do what you can to make sure this happens. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Did we get Mr. Stetcher on the phone again? No? We're good then. All right, that's it then. No further comments or questions? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We're adjourned. Thank you, guys.